Y mina 35 na legislatura in Guam is back from recess. We had placed Bill number 217-35 COR into the third voting file, and at this time, Senator Therese, good afternoon. I will acknowledge you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Notwithstanding the House rules, I'd like to move at this time that we go back to motions in order to add some bills onto the agenda.
On that motion, are there any objections? No objections. Hearing none, seeing none, motion carries. At this time, I'll still recognize you since you got the floor, Senator Therese.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'd like to move, notwithstanding the House rules, to place Bill number 419-35 COR as substituted by the Committee on Health, Tourism, Historic Preservation, Land and Justice, introduced by Therese M. Terlahi. It's an act to add a new Chapter 75A and to amend Section 75109A of Chapter 75, both of Title 21, Guam Code Annotated, relative to preserving the land restoration and justice mission of the Chamorro Land Trust. I move to put that on the agenda, Madam Speaker.
On the motion to place Bill 419-35, that's COR or?
Yes.
COR onto the agenda. Senator Lee, you are recognized.
Sidus Masi, Madam Speaker, and good afternoon, colleagues. Just a point of information on this bill. The committee report was received by the Committee on Rules and duly filed on the 18th of November. Sidus Masi.
Sidus Masi, Committee on Rules Chair. On that motion, are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Anyone else? Oh, Senator Therese, you still have the floor. I apologize.
No problem, Madam Speaker. Thank you. I'd like to move to place Bill number 408-35 COR as amended by the Committee on Health, Tourism, Historic Preservation, Land and Justice, introduced by Senator Therese M. Terlahi, an act to amend Section 4401C of Article 4 of Chapter 4, Title 7, Guam Code Annotated, and to amend Section 40.50A of Chapter 40 of Title 8, Guam Code Annotated, relative to expanding the powers of the Superior Court of Guam Magistrates to include the authority to preside over additional non-dispositive hearings and to modify bail conditions. This is one of those 4 bills at the request of the judiciary. This is the one that was reported out, and it's been put online today, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Lee, you are recognized.
Sidus Masi, Madam Speaker, as the previous speaker had mentioned, this bill was filed by the Committee on Rules and has been placed online only a few hours ago.
Thank you. On that motion, are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Senator Joe San Augustine, then I apologize, Senator Joe. I acknowledge Senator Torres first, please excuse me. To yield to the woman, Senator Mary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Notwithstanding House rules, I move to place Bill number 420-35 LS, introduced by myself, Mary C. Torres, and Tina Rose Munya Barnes. This is an act to amend Section 5 in Chapter 11 of Public Law 3599 and to appropriate the sum of $470,000 to the Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services relative to funding the operations of the Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services in FY 2021, which may include but not be limited to the Bureau of Emerging Infectious Diseases.
On that motion, Senator Lee, you are recognized.
420.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and just a point of information on Bill 420-35 COR. It was duly filed by the Committee on Rules on the 18th.
Sidus Masi, Senator Lee, on that motion, are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Senator Joe San Augustine, I recognize you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Notwithstanding the House rules, I move to place Bill 219-35 COR as amended by the Committee on General Government Operations, Appropriations, and Housing, and introduced by myself and yourselves, Speaker Tina Rose Munya Barnes, co-sponsored also by Senator William M. Castro and Senator Clint Rigel, Bill 219-35 COR is an act to amend Section 7120 of Chapter 7 of Division 2, Title 17 Guam Code annotated to amend Section 8502 of Article 5, Chapter 8 of Title 12 Guam Code annotated and to amend Section 5008.2 of Part A, Article 1 of Chapter 5 of Title 5 Guam Code annotated relative to strengthening the purchase or leaseback of renewable energy purchase of service for the Department of Education, Guam Academy Charter Schools, Guam Community College, and the University of Guam. Sus Marcy.
On that motion, Senator Lee, you are recognized.
Sudos Masi, Madam Speaker, just a point of information. This bill 219-35 COR was filed on the 16th of November.
Sidus Masi, on the motion, are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Senator, Assistant Majority Leader Kelly Marsh Taitsino, you are recognized. Sorry.
Saina Ma'asi, Maske Halu. Maske Halu, notwithstanding the House rules, I move to place resolution number 365-35LS as amended by the author onto the session agenda.
Madam Senator, I do apologize. You want to go ahead and read the title?
Hungin. So the title is Relative to Protehi Membedzana Siha, urging the U.S. Navy to, in identified habitats, cease its use of active sonar, torpedo countermeasures, and in-water explosives that take or harm marine mammals, use passive sonar to detect the presence of marine mammals, and provide all information as declared necessary by the Government of Guam in order to determine boundaries of habitat areas of beaked whales and other cetaceans. This is introduced by myself, Senators Therese M. Terlahi, Sabina Flores Perez, Talina Cruz Nelson, Clinton E. Rigel, Joe S. Sanagustin, Regine Bisco-Lee, William M. Castro, and Talo T. Taitagui.
Senator Lee, you have the floor.
Sudos Masi, Madam Speaker, just a point of information on this bill, on this,
Resolution.
the resolution 365-35 COR. It was received by CORE a few days ago and it went through legal review. And so we just filed it this morning, earlier today.
Thank you very much, Committee on Rules Chair. On the motion to place Resolution 365-35 COR into the session agenda, are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Minority Leader, I will recognize you at this time.
Suzus Masi, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the objection of Imagahagan Guahan, I move to place vetoed Bill 215-35 COR, an act to amend 6301B of Article 3, Chapter 6, Division 1, Title 5, Guam Code annotated, relative to maximum limits of government liability to the voting file. And I ask for a brief moment to speak on the motion.
You are allowed to speak on the placement on the motion. I will allow you. Minority Leader, you may proceed.
Sujus Masi, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, vetoed Bill 215-35 is sponsored by myself, Telo Taitagui, and co-sponsored by Senator Joe Sanagustin, Senator Luis Muña, Senator Kelly Marsh Taitino, Senator Will Castro, Senator Therese Terlahi, Senator James Moylan, Senator Sabina Perez, and Senator Clint Rigel. Madam Speaker, the governor's message vetoing Bill 215-35 COR, she writes that, quote, unless substantial funding is made available to support Bill 215-35, an increase of potential liability of hundreds of thousands of dollars would gravely disrupt our government's ability to provide the important service and threaten the continued viability of critical programs. Madam Speaker, there are valid questions concerning whether the government of Guam can afford higher awards. The 14 senators who voted in favor of Bill 213-35 Committee on Rules understood that only 65% of the budget appropriation for the Government Claims Fund was used for payouts in the last 5 years. Also, Madam Speaker, Guam law allows that in the event the funds are not sufficient to fully pay a claim, the claim shall be paid pro rate until the claim is paid in full. Madam Speaker, limited liability for government of Guam haven't been adjusted for the last 40 years, despite the rising cost of living, including legal fees, health care, and other essential goods and services. Madam Speaker, I ask my colleagues to consider, with their support of victims of government negligence, and to override vetoed Bill 215-35 COR. As I stated during earlier discussions, while Bill 215-35 can never replace a life lost or adequately compensate victims and their families for their pain and suffering, this measure gives me reason to believe that the claimants and their loved ones can and will be given form of justice, peace of mind, and a sense of closure. Si Juice Masi, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Minority Leader. On the vetoed bill, anyone wishing to speak? If not, notwithstanding the objections of the Magahaga and Guahan to place vetoed bill number 215-35 COR into the voting file, is there an objection? Is there an objection? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Anyone else? Senator Joseph Augustine, I will recognize you.
Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I'd like to move that Bill 400-35 COR, as introduced by yourself, the Speaker, Senator Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, an act as amended by the Committee on General Government Operations and Appropriation Housing. An act to make appropriations necessary to safeguard the public health of the people of Guam by amending Public Law number 35-99. Ma'am.
To place Bill 400-35 COR on the session agenda, Committee on Rules Chair, I will recognize you.
Si Juice Masi, Madam Speaker, just a moment's recess, por favor.
Moment's recess.
Suzu,
Y mañana 35 na legislature in Guam is back from recess. Committee on Rules, Chair, I will allow you the opportunity to speak on the floor.
Suzu Ismasi, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. And I'd just like to note that the committee report for Bill 400-35 COR was received by the Committee on Rules and has been filed on the 19th of November.
Thank you. On that motion, seeing or hearing no objection, motion carries. I'm going to go ahead and recognize Assistant Majority Leader. I understand you have a vetoed bill you want to put on. Senator March Tachino, I will recognize you at this time.
Saina Ma'asi Maska Halu. Maska Halu, notwithstanding the objection of E. Magahagan Guahan, I move to place vetoed bill number 167-35 COR in the voting file and to speak on it briefly.
I will allow you. Please proceed.
Just a few weeks ago, we very clearly stood together in the need to update a comprehensive development plan for our island, dating all the way back to 1979, during the administration of Ricky Berdallo. We all recognize that principles and concepts of sustainability and even just development itself have changed radically since that time. And we had talked about this quite a bit. I believe everybody here understands that concept very deeply and has shown themselves to be committed to it throughout the term. In fact, I think in some ways this body has been more environmentally conscientious and adhered to and uphold sustainable principles perhaps more than any other body. So we had discussed that in this approach, the approach is going to be element by element, and as they've proven already, each of these elements is going to be federally funded. They are going to seek it. These types of plans, especially ones related to climate change, sea level rise, strengthening the infrastructure of our island legislatively and otherwise, are ones that are readily funded. And then the next step would be to bring these all together in the end and build them up into a comprehensive plan. I spoke with the planners very specifically. They said that they have, that the 60 days that we talked about to develop a strategic approach for us to be able to review is doable. They consider it feasible. And again, just to remind everyone that this is our chance to weigh in on the future of our island. We admire our administration for their commitment to sustainability and zero waste and those directions. But those are administrative policies. We have the opportunity to permanently change the law, to update it, to modernize it, and to make sure that it's a better future for all of us. So this Bill 167-35 COR is our opportunity to weigh in and plan for our children and our grandchildren and their continued success.
Thank you. Oh.
Sijuas Masi Maskahalu.
Buen provecho, Senator Tachino. On the motion to place vetoed measures, notwithstanding the objections of the Magahagan Guahan, to place Bill 167-35 COR onto the voting file. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much, Assistant Majority Leader. At this time, colleagues, if there's nobody else wishing to speak on motions, we are still in second reading, and I will acknowledge Senator Jim. No.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Jim, one moment, please. Colleagues, the clerk has advised me that she needs a couple of minutes to upload and get all these bills prepared and ready. I know we still have Bill 218 that Senator Jim Moylan, that's the next bill up. So if you can allow us just 20 minutes, we're going to take 20 minutes, 30-minute recess. So we will be in recess for 30 minutes.